Perlo dance. You're the only one that gets to see it, Lauren. How's everybody doing in the land today? We got not much news going on today, though. Gotta say, not much news. What did we have for news? Did we have anything? Jack Eichel changes agents. That's kind of big news, actually. Jack Eichel changes agents to Sidney Crosby's agent group. He goes to Pat Bryson, one of the biggest representers, I guess you'd say, that there is. Maybe the biggest. He leaves Peter Fisher. Doesn't really say why it comes. I guess he figures that if he goes to a different agent, they will, hey, how you doing? This trade will happen quicker with a guy like him. Maybe he's got more power. I don't know, but so the agent group that he went part of there, it's so big I know the name of it. Hey, Sasha, how you doing? Holy Sasha, we haven't seen Sasha in a while. That deserves a pearl. It's Hockey News Reports, Kyle Mercer. Oh my. Everybody in the land is here today. Holy. Oh, they're the same. Perlo dance and hockey are the exact same thing. Sasha hype. So, yeah, he trades agents. Nathan McKinnon, Patrick Kane. I don't know if that's going to help him at all, but obviously he wasn't very happy with what they've done so far. He's getting impatient there in Saberland, and his career is like, he's going to miss the season next year if they don't get this resolved. So, oh, really? I don't know. I haven't seen you do it, Hockey News Reports. You can't consider yourself a master until you did a TikTok of you Perlo dancing and sent it to me. I have to have a visual to be able to know that. You could do it, you could email it to me, and then I could make a TikTok of it. I can't tell. You can email me you doing a Perlo dance, and I will make a TikTok of that. And then I will ask everyone else if you're a master or not. So you just can't just go out giving master Perlo dance all willy-nilly, it's not like how do you do that? I could just tell everybody, oh, you're a master. No. There's a process. Bill Tortolet, welcome to the live. Holy smokes. Let's talk some hockey. Okay, well, like I said, he changed his agent. So I guess we can talk about Eichel here. There was somebody, I can't remember, I think it's Audi or something like that, is a YouTuber. He came up with a trade that was pretty interesting. It was Matthew Tkachuk from Calgary to St. Louis, where apparently this rumor is he's going to St. Louis when he's a free agent no matter what. That's the rumor. So they trade Matthew Tkachuk to Calgary. You got to remember, I mean, even if they don't, he's got, in order to qualify him, it's going to be like $9 million. Do you guys think Matthew Tkachuk is worth $9 million? I personally do. But if he's going to St. Louis anyways, and then Let me try to see if I can remember this. Kairu. See if I can remember this. I got to bring him up here. Kairu was part of the package. Matthew Tkachuk went to Calgary. Kairu, St. Louis. St. Louis. St. Louis. It was Jordan Kairu, a first-round pick, a prospect that I wasn't overly, but he swore up and down is a fantastic prospect, a Russian prospect. Who else? There was something else. I got to watch it again. Jeez, now I'm mad at myself. I can't remember it. Anyways, Calgary ends up getting Eichel. It was Jordan Kairu. Was it Robert Thomas? I didn't think it was Robert Thomas. And Calgary gives them their first-round pick. St. Louis gives them their first-round pick. Jordan Kairu, a Russian prospect, and somebody else or something like that. It was a pretty interesting trade and kind of believable. That was it, Zari. Calgary trades Zari and a first. That's right. They got Zari, a first. Tkachuk goes to St. Louis. Kairu, the Russian kid, and a first from St. Louis. That's what it was. You saw that, Gavin? That's what it was. It was Zari. So St. Louis would get Zari, Kairu, the Russian kid. Can't remember his name. A first from St. Louis and a first from Calgary. Calgary would give up a crap load. They'd give up Tkachuk and Zari and a first, and they would get Eichel. And St. Louis would get Tkachuk. That's what it was. Wow, the whole thing with that is, are they going to be able to keep Tkachuk? And that's the big question mark there, I think. Who is LFD? No, it wasn't Kuznetsov. It was a Russian. Oh, yeah, it was Kuznetsov. That's right. It had the same. That's right. It was Kuznetsov. Who is a left defenseman. Okay, now we got it. I'm putting it all together now. The thing about this is St. Louis, I mean, they can, if St. Louis believes they're going to get Tkachuk anyways, yeah, tell all your friends about the stream. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get Eichel without giving up Tkachuk. And I sort of believe I don't know, that whole rumor about him going to St. Louis, it might have been a contract thing. But Zari Kuznetsov. Yeah. Did you see that one, Gavin, from Audi or whatever? I messaged him. I actually asked him if he would do a collab or maybe come on with the Steel Flyers. I really like that guy. I can't believe he doesn't have more followers than he does. I don't understand. There's some guys that have tons of followers and you go, what? And then a guy like that, like he's really good. He seems really good. Maybe it's just because he's mostly Calgary based. I don't know, but I like him. Anyways, yes, we do have enough people here. The problem is if we get this started now, we're going to have to do something at the end. But I guess content is content. What were we on? We just finished the Blues. We were going to go to trading. We were doing a trading players from every team. So which players are most tradable from every team? I know we that's what got Gavin. That's what got us into the Eichel conversation, was that he switched agents. Yeah, that's what got us into the Eichel conversation, because he's switching agents. It's news. It sounds like impatient. I mean, I imagine he must have went to Bryson and said, I want this done now. Can you do more for me or whatever? What's Bryson going to say? No? Of course he's going to say yes. Yeah, of course. Come on over here, buddy. Like, I don't know how much more he's going to do, but maybe Bryson has more power to do something. I don't know. But we'll see. Should be interesting. So we were going to do you guys want to do the finish off the trading which players will be traded from every team? Do you guys want to do that right now? Bryson is the agent that architected the Matt Duchene trade. Okay, so was he whose agent was he? Was he Matt Duchene's agent? So Gavin, if you don't know, what we've been doing here is we've been doing a community. Basically, I use the community to. He was Duchene's agent. Okay. Basically, I use the community, or help the community. We as a community. I'm not using the community. We as a community come up with content for my videos in a lot of ways. And what we have been doing is we did like the best, grading every team's defense, grading every team's forwards, grading coaches and general managers. But now what we're doing is we're going through every team and saying which players most likely will be traded from each team. And then I'm going to do a video with our answers. By the way, I just finished the second part of the general manager videos. I'll have it up this weekend sometime. So, and you can check out all those videos, of course, online. So are you into that, Gavin? Because we got 5 concurrents, and I'll get TikTok going here too, so we can get maybe some more people there. And okay, you're into that. Sweet. All right. So I'm going to get TikTok going here. If you guys have TikTok, you can catch me on the Pearl of Wisdom show on TikTok. I post stuff on there too. So I like TikTok. You get lots of viewers, and it's fun. I go live there like I am right now. And I get some people sometimes. Quite a bit, actually, quite often. I get people. Mario, we'll see if Mario comes on. So we don't have many to do. Last one we did was St. Louis. So now we're going to do, last one we did was Tampa Bay. We're going to do Toronto, so there's not many more to do. So we'll really take our time with this, and we'll talk about each team and stuff like that and have some fun. Go live. Okay, so now Tampa Bay, Toronto Maple Leafs. I can't believe, what's his name is not here. He's like Mr. Leafs on this thing. He's always trading everybody from Weichel. Weichel's not here, and we're doing the Leafs and who they're going to get traded. Crazy. I can't believe he's always here. So who is most likely going to get traded from Toronto? Okay, we'll talk about all of them because we got lots of time to talk. First one is Nylander. That would make sense because what has he got? He's got 2024. So he's got, what, 3 or 4 more years at $7 million. It doesn't make... I wouldn't want to trade that contract, honestly. I really think that the deal has got to be Marner. But I could see Nylander, I suppose. Like, I don't know. Marner would be the one if they really can't get enough depth in this organization at all. To me, Marner would be the one. But what about Morgan Rielly? Are they going to be able to sign Morgan Rielly? Are they going to be able to sign? Oh, there's Weichel there. He's here. Okay. Mikheyev. I would say Mikheyev would be traded if they are out of it. Come the deadline, maybe, yeah. If they're out of it at the deadline, that would be a disaster, wouldn't it? If Toronto were out of it at the deadline, Rielly, if they're out of it at the deadline, yeah, like, do you think it's possible that Toronto could be out of it at the deadline? Gavin, all you guys, do you think it's possible that Toronto could be out of it? Not only not make the playoffs, but be like out of it at the deadline. I think it's possible if Mrazek gets hurt, which he often does. Toronto is not going to be able to keep Rielly. So what? This team is screwed. Like, what are you going to do if you can't keep Rielly? You don't think the Leafs will be out of it? Mrazek is going to piss Rielly off? Maybe. Why do you say that, Lauren? If they trade Rielly, like, what is they got to replace him? They have a good offense for like 4 lines. There's just, is Richie going to be able to do what he did in Boston last year? Like, that was the first year he had a decent year. Bunting looks like he might be all right. But, I mean, there is a lot of mishmash. There's a lot that could go wrong. I think that's what I'm trying to say. There is a lot that could go wrong in Toronto. When you only have 4 really big guys, one of them gets injured, and who do they have to replace him? Sandin is probably the biggest guy. If Sandin can come in and do something there, I don't think anybody's going to like Mrazek's aggressive style. With Mrazek there, you got to cover, you got to give him the shot all the time. And you got to, you got to coach a system that you take all the men and give Mrazek the shot, because he's going to be so far out that the shot won't be there generally, but the pass will be all day. And if he gets deked, he's screwed. Four lines overall are good, really? You think they're good? I mean, Nylander, Matthews, Marner, if they decide to play them that. But then Richie, Tavares, Mikheyev, is that good? Is that really good? Mikheyev had the 17 points in 54 games last year. Kerfoot, Kampf, and Simmons. Simmons is on your third line. That's good. What's good about that? Simmons is not a third liner anymore. I could see if Bunting pans out the way, but all of these are big ifs. I don't know. I'm not seeing it, dude. I'm not seeing it. You're going to need some guys to step up so much more than they have yet in their career. And that, if they put Nylander on that top line, all you got to do is focus on that top line. Yeah. All you got to do is focus on that top line. I think you've got to play Nylander with Tavares. And you got to play Marner and then fill in after that. Otherwise, you just focus on the top line and you pretty much can take Toronto every game. And then once you get in the defensive zone, just wait for Mrazek to come out to the freaking faceoff dot and pass the puck around him and score. Mrazek, to me, was the worst thing. But fortunately for them, you got Ottawa. I mean, most of the teams, other than the top, like Tampa Bay, Boston. Who am I forgetting? They got Buffalo, Montreal. It's going to be between them and Montreal. Maybe Ottawa. If they were in a deep division, like in the East or something, they'd be screwed. Justin Holl. Anyways, Nylander, Mikheyev, Riley, Holl. I don't think Holl will get traded. I mean, geez, he got protected. They protected 4 defensemen to keep him. That's the big if their whole goaltending holds up. I agree. Matthews can win a lot of games for you, no doubt about it. That shot is absolutely insane. I just think it's pretty touch and go. And for a team that's supposed to be, in the process of being a cup contender, this team is not very good. And maybe that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Maybe a little too much I'm looking at it in the sense that they're supposed to be a lot better than they are. I forgot to look over my TikTok people. Hello, TikTok people. Yeah, and they can improve through the season. If they're in it at the deadline, they can add. But like Lawrence says, the Riley situation is they probably can't sign him. How are they going to sign Riley? And then if they're in a playoff contention, they're probably not going to trade him. So he's going to go for free. That'll give him cap space. Then they got to find a defenseman at least as good as Riley or better for like what, $6 million maybe, something like that. And that's only one defenseman. The cap is going to go up $1 million. What's that going to do? Not much. So we got Nylander, Mikheyev, and Riley as the most likely to be traded in Toronto. Did anybody else have anything else? I could say that, like I said, if they're out of it, there could be more players than that. But I doubt very much. That's the bad thing. It almost would be best if they were completely out of it. If they were completely out of it, then they would start trading away and building some depth in this organization before they move on. Sorry, Dubas, your plan did not work. It just didn't work. Didn't work. I don't. I think I can safely say that. But then I also thought I could safely say Montreal was not going to make it to the finals last year too. So, yeah, anything can happen. Okay, now the Canucks. Vancouver Canucks. Most possible to be traded for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, I should look at their cap hit first. You know what? Before I do what is next year's cap hit for Toronto? I didn't even check that out. Silly me. I could just imagine, but next year they have Riley. Jack Campbell's going to need another contract. They are projected to have $13 million in cap room. Yeah, they could sign Morgan Riley, I suppose. Could they? They actually maybe could, but they wouldn't have much left over. Never even just thought I'd take a look at that. They gave Nick Ritchie 2.5 for 2 years. You think they're going to trade Besser or Peterson in Vancouver? CL, welcome to the stream, my friend. Woo! Hey, how you doing? Who's with us there on TikTok? Talking hockey here. We're talking about who would be traded from every team. Okay, never mind. Go. Bye. I don't care. Okay. Tyler Myers. Who's going to take that contract? Maybe. First of all, do you think it's possible that Vancouver is out of it by the deadline? I don't think it's possible that Vancouver is out of it. That division is so bad. They've got plenty enough. Like, if you think Toronto's got enough firepower, you could make a case that Vancouver's got even more with their overall depth in their lineup. Let me see. You said Miller and Peterson. You think they're going to trade Peterson? Besser, I've heard. I've heard Besser a lot. And why you hear Besser a lot, I don't know. Where's Brock Besser from? He's from the United States, and he's going to be a free agent soon. It's possible. He's from Minnesota. It's possible that Brock Besser is kind of in behind the scenes said he'd like to go to the United States. And if that's the case, then yeah, he would have to be traded. And he'd have to be traded now. But Peterson, I can't see it. I think Peterson loves Vancouver. I don't see that happening. But Brock Besser is a good possibility. Not that they'd want to trade him, but if he really wants to go to the United States, be back home again, maybe Minnesota specifically, then that could very well be the case. I don't see too many guys they're going to trade here. Connor Garland, not likely. They just picked him up. Tyler Myers, I mean, I would trade him if I could find it, if I could get a good. Does he have a no trade clause, Tyler Myers? He has a no movement clause, but it's a moderate 10-team no trade list. It's not that bad. Yeah, I think it's a 95%. I agree. Benning is probably going to get fired. I don't know. He's thwarted it all so far. And this division is so bad, they'll probably make the playoffs, and his career will continue as a general manager. Like his drafting has been okay. I only see one there, and that's Besser. And that's because Larson probably wouldn't be able to get traded. If they wanted to trade Larson, that would mean that Larson isn't doing well. And who's going to take that contract after they botch that trade? Even if they don't make the playoffs, they're at that stage of their development that they'll probably just try it again with the same group or close to it. Somebody said Miller, right? Miller absolutely loves it in Vancouver. I could see them trading JT Miller now that they picked up Garland. Yeah, Miller's a possibility. Where's he from? He's from Ohio. Miller is a very good possibility. Does he have a no trade clause? I wonder. No, he doesn't have a no trade clause. Yeah, I like Miller. I would trade Miller before I would Besser, but if Besser really wants to go to the United States, then that's what they would do. But you could trade Miller for picks or whatever the case may be to sign other players. What do they got? Most of the guys they have to sign, Brock Besser is the guy they have to sign. It all comes down to Brock Besser. Yeah, I think Pettersson would have to want to move. I can't see. Jim Benning signings are not very good. Yeah, I agree. Hey, how you doing, guys? We're talking hockey here on my NHL Pearls of Wisdom on YouTube. You can join in with the fun. We're going through every NHL team and seeing who could be traded next year. You can join in and put your down on the bottom there. Thank you for coming in, my friend. Well, and you can also come over to my NHL Pearls of Wisdom. Pearls as in like a pearl necklace. Pearls of Wisdom on YouTube, and you can join us right here. We got lots of people here. So, yeah, I don't think Pettersson. I think Besser and Miller would be the only two guys I can see there that would be. Jordy Ben signed with Minnesota. Okay, some depth. Jordy Ben might end up playing with every single team in the league before it's all over. Did that just happen now? They got Jordy Ben, Kulikov, and Goligoski. All of those guys probably can be traded at the deadline for picks, and I think that's what their plan is. I don't know. The problem is their coach is so good, they'll get him in the playoff race. Okay, that just happened now. Jordy Ben. Where has Jordy Ben played? Played in Vancouver, Montreal, Dallas. Didn't he play in Dallas with his brother for a bit? I think so. I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. Who am I missing, guys? Vancouver, Montreal, Dallas. Did he play in Tampa Bay for a bit? I want to say Tampa Bay. Didn't he play in Tampa Bay for a bit? Winnipeg. He played in Winnipeg. Wasn't that what he was playing last year? Last year he played in Winnipeg at the end. He's played in so many different teams. Maybe it wasn't. I'll look it up. Okay, no. I got them all. Winnipeg, yeah. So it was Dallas, Montreal, Vancouver, and Winnipeg, and now Minnesota. 556 games, 127 points. Yeah, he's a good depth guy. And they could probably get a pick for him if they're out of the playoffs. It's not a bad deal. Guerin's doing some pretty good stuff there. He's kind of getting himself in a position where the next 4 years, I believe he has a 4-year plan. He's going to get as many draft picks as he can. And still, he's got to be competitive still because his team's too good. You know, it's not going to be a tear down rebuild, but it's a difficult landscape to go through there in Minnesota because your team is too good. It's been like that for a long time. The team has been too good to not make the playoffs, but not good enough to go far in the playoffs, and they got to turn that around and change it. And now with those 2 contracts, and you're getting $14 million off the cap, it's got to be like a 5-year plan or 4 or 5-year plan. And you might get lucky and have a really good year within that, but I think that's the only thing he's got now. So picking up guys like Ben and Kulikov and guys that you can pick up draft picks, hopefully you can hit pay dirt with a 3rd or 4th or 5th pick with all the picks that you get throwing darts at a board and get some guys. And not to mention keep your first all the way through. They won't be trading their first at all the way through. Jamie Benn played with Dallas. He started with Dallas. Oh, I meant to say Jordy, not Jamie. Jordy Benn, yeah. Jordy Benn. Did I say Jamie? Yeah, didn't mean to say Jamie. Jordy Benn. So, yeah, I mean, Jordy always gets a 5th round pick for people, something like that, to get depth in a lineup somewhere for the playoffs. Kulikov will probably, if he has a really good year, get something similar to that. And then Goligoski will get, about a 3rd if they're out of it. That's the problem they have, though, is what if they're not out of it? Personally, I trade those guys. If I'm like only just barely in the playoffs come the trade deadline, I trade those guys for picks anyways. You need the picks. They need the picks for the next couple of years. And then, just fly by the seat of your pants and see what happens when you hit the playoffs, and then do it again the next year. Now, if you're like crushing it, and with Everson, you could. You never know with Everson. They could absolutely crush it next year. Yeah, Ryan Poehling, he's only a 3rd or 4th line guy in the future, though. Even when they drafted him, he was only ever going to be a 3rd or 4th line guy. Didn't he get drafted the same year? He got drafted the same year they drafted Kokaniemi, right? Like, in that draft, I believe almost every pick was a centerman. What was that, 2017? 2019? Because they went off the board. Kokaniemi draft. 2018. 2018. Yeah, it was Darlene Svechnikov, Kokaniemi. They could have had Brady Tkachuk. Imagine that. Imagine if Montreal would have had, hey, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to We're Talking Hockey here. That was a crazy draft because Arizona just crapped the bed and took Barrett Hayton way off the board. Could have had Zadina, Quinn Hughes. But then didn't they pick, or was that in the second round? I thought Montreal had another pick there. I thought they had another pick in the first round. I guess not. No, Jesse Yolonen. That was a right winger. Alexander Romanov. So I guess not. That wasn't the year. They got Romanov in that draft too. I should probably check. You guys are probably answering all my questions now. Travis Sanheim. Yeah, it was okay signing for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's got to step it up a lot, though. He's got to have a big year this year. Barry, I don't know. Is he AHL level? I think he's pretty strong defensively. His analytics show that he's very good defensively. I like him. He's just got to stop being so emotional. He lets his emotions get away with him sometimes. Yeah, he's talking about Ethan Bear. I think he's good enough. I don't know if he should be in your top 4 right now until he matures a bit. Like $9 million for two years at $4.5 million per. Bear is good defensively. The problem with Bear was moving the puck. And the Oilers just want all their players to be able to move the puck out of the zone. He needs somebody to move the puck for him. But he's pretty good defensively. But he's relatively small. He plays with a lot of heart. He plays with a lot of determination. But he's not very big, so he does get pushed around in the defensive zone. But he's still pretty raw. He's still pretty young. He's still got a lot of improvement to do. I think in Carolina, if they can just simplify his game, don't try to do too much. And I think in Edmonton, he kept on trying to do too much. He would try to skate with the puck when he shouldn't and stuff like that. But what do we got next? Well, CC had a good year in Pittsburgh, but I'm with you, Lauren. I don't know if that's going to be able to translate into in Edmonton, because in Pittsburgh, Crosby has built a culture there. Players keep on coming back like crazy. Crosby's created a culture there where every player comes back and helps out the defense like an incredible amount. So CC didn't have to have that first pass too often. It was a quick pass out of the zone. If you do that, like quick pass to a forward who is open and ready for an easy pass out of the zone. Edmonton, now. And what's going to happen is the same thing that happened in Toronto probably. Cody, as soon as you make Cody Ceci have to pass up to the red line, he's going to be coughing the puck up left, right, and center. And everybody's going to hate him for doing that, even though his analytics will look decent because overall he doesn't do too bad. But eventually it'll work on his confidence to have the fans practically booing him and stuff. I'll tell you what, the Edmonton Oilers fans are hard on their players there, man. Like in public, they will yell at them like, "You're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing." You know, whatever, in public. And they did so to Ethan Bear. And that's part of the reason why he wanted out. If you don't have a thick skin in Edmonton, you're probably like, if you don't let stuff bounce off you in Edmonton, you're probably not going to do well there. Yeah, McDavid, if you take McDavid and switch him for Barzal on that roster. This is the way I like to show a team. Take McDavid off that roster, put Barzal in there. Do you think Edmonton makes the playoffs next year? If you take McDavid off the roster and put Barzal in instead. Much like what happened when Tavares left. Do you think that Edmonton makes the playoffs next year? Or maybe they do, but I mean, yeah. They're in such a bad division, maybe. But they're definitely not a shoo-in to make the playoffs next year. And Foegele, he's good defensively, but yeah, stone hands. The guy's got stone hands. I think it's a pretty big red flag to when you've... See, I like to look at who the coaches are about the players that they're trading. Rod Brind'Amour has shown himself to be one of the best judges of talent in the league as a coach. If Rod Brind'Amour is giving the okay to trade Foegele for Bear, now he doesn't know much about Bear, but with the roster they have, if he's saying, yeah, go ahead, trade Foegele, what does that mean for Foegele? He likes... Brind'Amour is a guy who loves two-way guys that can play both sides of the ice. Foegele is that. But why would he want that trade? You gotta remember, Ethan Bear is kind of a question mark. He had a bad year last year. He's a young defenseman, but he had a poor year last year, and he hasn't really shown incredible amounts of consistency yet. So Brind'Amour would have to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and trade Foegele. That worries me if I'm trading for a guy like Foegele. I'm really questioning why Brind'Amour would say that. I'll tell you why. It's because the guy is, as Lauren says, he's got stone hands. He got lucky in a couple bounces last year and got 15 goals. But more than likely, Foegele is not going to get you more than 5 goals a year or something like that. 5 to 7 goals a year. And he's not a playmaker. So he'll probably end up being a fourth-line guy. Yeah, he's probably a bottom 4 right now. I agree, Mercer. So you traded a bottom 4 defenseman for more than likely a fourth-line winger. Which one do you want more? It's almost like a nothing trade. Except that Edmonton thinks they're getting... If you talk to Edmonton fans and what's going on there, they think they're getting the second coming of Coleman. And they're not. All right, next. We got a couple. Vegas Golden Knights. This is weird. Oh, I know one. Vegas Golden Knights. Yep. My team, yeah. Janmark and Smith. Smith for sure. I'm surprised Smith isn't traded by now. They're working on. I don't think Janmark will get traded. I don't know if Janmark will get traded. If they do, it'll be they'll use him to get a number one center. You still say Roy, eh? I don't see why they would trade Roy. Dadonov, who's going to take him though? The Vegas, I don't think is going to. I mean, if he's terrible, I suppose. If Dadonov is as bad as he played in Ottawa, they won't get anything for him. Like, that's the thing, is he was terrible in Ottawa. Dadonov was brutal in Ottawa. Maybe like, I watched a lot of Ottawa games last year because they're an exciting, fun team to watch. But Dadonov might have had I think I probably watched, I don't know how many games I watched. I think he might have had 3 or 4 good games. And when he had his good games, you were like, oh, okay, this is Dadonov. All right, cool. But when he didn't, it was, how old am I? Why do people ask me how old I am? So if he does well, they won't trade him because they're going to be in playoff contention. If they're not in playoff contention, I suppose you trade Dadonov, but you won't get much for him. And I couldn't see how they could possibly not be in playoff contention. I don't understand the Dadonov trade at all. What did they gave up picks for him too, right? Didn't they give up a third or something like that? Like, they gave up a big pick for Dadonov. I don't understand why. Like, he did horrible last year. Somehow they got to figure they're going to be able to turn him around, because Riley Smith, I think, has been rumored to go, because I think this is last year of his contract. Yeah, this is the last year of his contract at $5 million. The thing is like I said, they're going to be contenders, so it would have to be a trade where you get a body back, or you just keep him and let him go for free. I don't know if he's going to get much more than what he already making next year. Janmark is a free agent next year as well. Dadonov still has 2 more years left at $5 million at 32 years old. What did they trade? Oh yeah, it was Nick Holden and a draft pick. So Nick Holden kind of made up for, Nick Holden had a $1.7 million contract. A 3rd round pick and Nick Holden. Like, why did they have to give up the 3rd? That's what I don't understand. They gave Ottawa a third on top of it after Dadonov just had an absolutely brutal year in a cap world where, $5 million players, you can't beg people to take them unless, of course, his name is Duncan Keith and you're trading him to the Oilers. But for the most part, Dadonov certainly doesn't have any hardware to put on his or anything like that. He's just a player who happened to, have the advantage of playing with Barkov and Huberdeau for a while and did absolutely poop-d. And then they give up Holden to make the cap work and a third? Yeah, I'd say they got fleeced. I'm pretty sure that before what's his name? Dorian was thought about trading Dadonov or was deciding to trade Dadonov. I'm pretty sure he did not think to himself, "Oh, I'll get a third for sure." Like when he told Vegas, "Okay, I'll tell you what." I wonder if Vegas called him up and said, "Hey, what is Dadonov available?" Yeah, he's available. You could probably for the right price. And they're like, "Okay, well," Dorian was like, "I'll tell you what. Well, just give us a third for it." And underneath his breath, he's kind of snickering, like, okay. And they're like, "Well, I don't know if I can give you a third." And then he's like, "My God, they're even entertaining the idea of a third here? Holy crap!" And then Vegas came back and said, "I'll tell you, we got to make the cap work. So we have Holden here. We don't really need him. We have some guys coming up. Would you like him?" Holden's a good defenseman for $1.7 million. Not bad. And not only that, you could get a pick for him at the deadline. Yeah, I don't understand that one at all. Getting to Dadonov, I don't understand at all. Now watch, he'll have a huge year in Vegas. Like, I don't know. But, I mean, if you're asking me if I think he's going to have a huge year in Vegas, I'm going to say no. The guy played perimeter. He got the money and he packed it in. He wouldn't go into any areas where he was going to get hurt. I don't know why they had to give up a third. I don't even know why they had to give up Holden. That should have been like, "We'll give you Holden, you give us Dadonov and one of your third-round picks." Ottawa should have been the one having to give up the third pick in that, not Vegas. Very weird. That was probably the biggest mistake McCrimmon has made so far. Although, I mean, 4 years from now, there's going to be a lot of mistakes on that roster. It's going to appear like there's a lot of mistakes on that roster, especially if they don't win a cup. Pacioretty. Yeah, he'll get second assists more. He'll play on the power play, probably. But just wait till they see his lackadaisical effort. My gosh. I don't know. Somehow they think they're going to get more out of Dadonov than Ottawa could. Maybe they're going to try him at center. I think he has played center before. Maybe that was the deal. They'll play him in between Pacioretty and Stone, and he'll just pass it to them all day. I think he played center before at one time. No, right wing, left wing. As of right now, they got him playing with Patrick Nolan. Oh my gosh. I think no, Riley Smith will play with Patrick. No, they're probably, yeah, it's probably where he'll end up. Dadonov, Patrick, and Janmark. Could you get a worse third line than that? Like, that's not a third line at all. Unless Patrick all of a sudden does this huge turnaround. Yeah, I don't see it. Anyways, it's doggy time. Doggy time. Doggy time. Doggy time. Doggy time. Doggy time. All right. Hot Pockets. Doggy time.
Greetings. This is Steel Flyers from the Steel Flyers All Sports Network, and we have two very special guests. We are delighted to be joined by Tracy Musser and Nicole Howard from the Canine Country Club Resorts. Tracy and Nicole are both managers for CCC Resorts and work at the Windsor or at the club, one of two locations both in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on your 30th year anniversary of being in business. Let me start off by saying this. Steel Flyer stands behind this company 100%. Taken care of Steel Flyer's furry friend for the last 2 years now, and they are a one-stop shop for everything your furry friend needs. In fact, let's find out what our friends at CCC Resorts offer. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. What are some of the great boarding services that you guys offer, and what do we have to do in order to get our furry friends taken care of when we are unable to travel with them?
Well, we like to bring everybody in for a tour first. That way they can see the behind the scenes, they can see where they stay, they can see where they play, and then we explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. And both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top-notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The Steel Flyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God.
There we go. Now you can hear me. We're back. Yes, we are back. Okay. So far we got Yamark and Smith. You never know with Vegas who they're going to trade, though, really. But they'll probably trade away all their draft picks. They'll probably they're dead set on winning the cup for sure, no doubt about it. So they got their first next year, their second next year. They're probably good as gone, right? They might as well. They'll package away something. I still think they're going to get Eichel. I think they're going to give everything away and get Eichel. Peyton Krebs. I wouldn't doubt that they just trade everything away. Who's next? Okay. Washington. The Capitals. Schultz, Kempney, Dowd, Sprong. I think Sprong will stay. But I could see Schultz, Kempney, Dowd for sure. I could see them being out of the playoffs. Especially if Samsonov goes down with injury. They could be in big trouble there. Big trouble in Washington. Yeah, I don't think Roy. I just think the only way those guys are getting traded is if they are somehow right out of it. I just can't see Vegas being out of it in that division. There's no way. TJ Oshie, sure. Oshie, Schultz. I don't think Sprong. Unless somebody gives him a lot for him. He's a young guy, or if he has a bad year. But Kempney, Dowd, Schultz, yeah, all of those guys. Eller, yeah. Just imagine if they trade all these guys away and all they got is like Backstrom and Ovechkin and Carlson. They'll be like the San Jose Sharks. Except they'll have better players. They're better old players. They'll be sort of like the San Jose Sharks. They're just rebuilding with these veterans hanging around, trying to get Ovechkin his goal scoring to beat Gretzky's record. Oshie is a Caps lifer? I don't know about that. Maybe, like, let's say, for instance, I think he's from Vancouver. Isn't he from Vancouver? No, he's American. Never mind. Oh, he's from Washington, too. Oh, yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe he sits there and rots with the rest of them. Evgeny Kuznetsov. He's got to put Kuznetsov there. He's got to get traded, right? What's going to happen with Kuznetsov, by the way? They're going to actually not trade him and he's going to play on the roster after all of that crap? Yeah, even if he comes close, you could make a case that he still is the best scorer in NHL history because Uh, Steele just sent me my new logo. And I can't tell you about it, but it's pretty funny. I gotta have a new logo here soon, so. Yeah, probably they'll just all get old together and suck. And then they'll just get draft picks, and maybe some young guys will come in and they'll have like one good year or something like that. That's a weird situation in Washington. Personally, for me, I would have been like all over getting Marc-Andre Fleury. Where would Kuznetsov go to? I don't know. I thought the best place for him was in Vegas. I mean, that guy, it seems to me that guy is on the brink of some issues there. He's got nailed with cocaine. He keeps on getting caught going out of protocol for COVID, which means that he's going out somewhere and he's not doing wise things. So maybe Vegas is like, this is probably not the place for you, buddy. But I would have thought Vegas was the best place for him as far as like what they need. But obviously they're not interested in doing that, or maybe it's just taking a really long time. If they did make that deal, maybe they've just, Kuznetsov has been good all off season and has said, I'm going to change my ways and all of that, and they're going to forgive him and let him keep on going and let all these old guys just keep on getting old together and, making the playoffs, and hopefully they can get lucky on a draft pick or two. I wouldn't be trading my first, that's for sure, unless it's for a goaltender. They could get away with it if they got an absolute stud of a goaltender. And I'm not sure Samsonov is that guy. San Jose Sharks. He just follows it, knows wherever it goes. San Jose Sharks for who? How is San Jose going to afford Kuznetsov? They're not going to trade. If you say Kane, no. I still say maybe Montreal. But they don't really need a... Well, yeah, maybe Montreal. Ducks for Gibson. I don't think the Ducks would want a Kuznetsov for Gibson, though. Because they traded Gibson, they want picks for sure. For sure. What would they want Kuznetsov for? Yeah, of course, Weichel. Toronto, yes. That's what Toronto needs, an $8 million coke fiend to play on their third line behind Tavares and Matthews. Probably not. Montreal, maybe. Montreal likes those kind of crazy Russian dudes. They always have. They don't really have, they'd have to send something back to make the money work, but I don't know. If Kuznetsov's going to go anywhere, who's cap room? They're probably going to have to take the same money back. I think he's going to end up staying in Washington, and they're just going to hope the heck he gets his crap together, and they can all go and get old together, and Ovechkin can try to get the record, and that's it. Like, you're looking at that Washington team, and you know that every year the chances of them being a contender are going down about 10-15% every year. Unless they strike it with some serious good prospects. Are we going to do our final one, or are we going to keep on talking about Kuznetsov? I don't, like, I can't think of anywhere else you could go. Where, I mean, how many years does he have left on that contract, too? I'm pretty sure Laviolette does not want him back, and that's the big thing, too. He pissed off Laviolette a lot. 4 years at 7.8. I don't know. Let's say you're going to go Montreal. Who would you have to take back? And that, I mean, he'd be a third line center. Kokoniemi could be the third liner. They don't really have any bad contracts. Take Hoffman back. I don't know. I think he stays in Washington. Talent is going down. The defense in Washington is below average now. After losing Dylan, they have a below average defense. And it's not getting any better. Orlov's not old, but he's been kind of declining as well. What's he, 30? He's 30 years old. He should still have some legs left. In 2 years, he's going to need a contract. Justin Schultz, meh. Jensen can get rid of him at any time and nobody would care. Yeah, like, this defense is not good, man. Carlson, Orlov, Schultz, Jensen, Kempney, and Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Matt Irwin. Yeah, that's... I don't think they're making the playoffs next year. Trade Price to Washington. Makes sense because he's from Seattle, isn't he? No, he's from Vancouver. I don't know. First Samsonov and yeah, it could actually work. But Kuznetsov, Samsonov, and one of their prospects or something like that, a first round pick or whatever. But then Montreal's going to suck for a while. The only thing giving Montreal any chance is Price. So then they got to be looking at rebuild. Well, I think Chicago is good enough, though. Chicago's got a lot of good young players. Washington's got way too many old players. And their defense, Chicago's defense isn't too bad. But Washington's defense are not good. It's just not good. And old. Yeah, well, you couldn't do Price for Samsonov, though, because they don't have the cap space. I would have been all over Fleury if they could have found a way to do it. Trade Samsonov. I would have traded Samsonov and something else for Fleury. Got him for 1 year and then find a defenseman the next year. This is like the year. They might be young enough now that they could do some damage with a guy like Fleury. But they got to have somebody that good for them to have a chance. Why is that a bad idea, Lauren? Leafs should trade for PK Subban. Sure, why not? Well, they're not going to win after this year. Like, just it's this year or nothing. You know, like every year it's a less and less of a chance. If you're going to win at all, it's going to be this year, and the only way they're going to win is with the Fleury level goaltender. Somebody like Fleury or somebody like that. Well, if you're going to focus on the future, I mean, I agree with you, but if you're going to do that, then what are you giving? You know, Ovechkin's got Backstrom for the next 8 years. You got to trade these guys away. They could have a shot with a guy like Fleury as their goaltender. But it doesn't matter. Even if they have a Fleury level, how else are they going to get that goaltender? They're going to have to draft one, and they won't be available for a while. Like, even if you had a Fleury level goaltender in 2-3 years, you're still not going to win a cup with this group. They're going to be so old by that time. So, like, they've made up their mind that they're going to try to get Ovechkin his goal streak and suck for the next 4 or 5 years. Not make the playoffs, be old, and continue being old for the next 4 or 5 years. So if you're going to do that, at least next year try. And then after that, try to find the best goaltender you can, and maybe you might have a chance. I don't know. I think with Fleury, they have a chance that he's that good. I think he's that good. I think when Vegas went to the finals that year, they weren't that good. Fleury was that good. If it wasn't for, if you would have taken all, like, there might have been 3 goaltenders in the league that could have got him to the finals that year. Fleury was one of them. Any other goaltender on Vegas that year, they don't make it to the finals. Fleury is that good that they have a chance. Other than Fleury, they don't have. Darcy Kemper would have been a good idea. He's young enough that they might have been able to do it for the next couple of years, I suppose. He wasn't there when they went to the finals the first year, though. Lehner. Oh, yeah, if you could trade Ovechkin, then you do it. That's the tough thing you got to do is this owner is in love with Ovechkin. It's time to trade Ovechkin. This owner wants Ovechkin to get his, maybe even made a promise that I'll never trade you if you're loyal. It's hard to trade him, like, but same as Backstrom. Yeah, this year he was good. We'll see how he does next year if he keeps his head in the game. If Lehner can keep his head in his game and you know not let his head get in the clouds and talk about a whole bunch, thinking about a whole bunch of stuff that's not hockey related or what that person said or if somebody thinks he's good or all that kind of stuff like that. If he just focuses on himself and doesn't worry about the noise, Lehner's great. But if he starts thinking about other stuff, he falls apart. Yeah, but he doesn't want to go. That's the problem, Mercer. He's one of those loyal guys that wants to be a cap for his life and all of that kind of stuff like that. He's got a family. Players still think that they can win the cup. Like, he still thinks that group can win a cup. They're not general managers. They don't look from another angle. And if they hear other people say differently, the players, especially superstars, are programmed to not listen to all that noise. All they know is, I'm going to win a cup next year. So there has to be someone to go and say, you know what, we're not there now. It's time to move on, and try to convince them to do so. But yeah, sure, Fleury's at that point that he could break up and stuff like that. But let's put it this way. Washington's not going to be good, not going to win a cup without a Fleury-like goaltender, period. Where else are they going to get a Fleury-like goaltender? They're not. So they roll the dice with Fleury to see if it works. If it don't work, it don't work. It's not working with Samsonov. Period. It's not. And if you're not going to rebuild, you might as well go for it now. And then after this, they're going to be so bad that they'll miss the playoffs anyways or whatever, but they may have a chance with a guy like Fleury in their lineup now. That's the way I look at it. They're just young enough that they might be able to do it. Where do I think Kessel goes? To the Montreal Canadiens? Sure, why not? It actually kind of makes sense. Play Phil Kessel with Hoffman and in between Kotkaniemi. Kotkaniemi is the only one playing defense on that line. That would be something. I mean, that's really rolling the dice with Ranta, because he has never shown an ability to not be injured in his whole career. So I think Ranta's an amazing goaltender in the sense that when he's injured all the time, but when he comes back for the 4 or 5 games that he's not injured, he's unbelievable. But he's only going to be that for 4 or 5 games, and then he's gone again. This would be like the first year in his career, I think, that he actually played. Let me look at Ranta. Bring up Carolina. Like, maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating a tad here. Let me take a look. I better make sure I know what I'm talking about before I say anything. No, it's really been last year he only played 12 games. In 2019-20 he played 33. The year before he only played 12. And then he had a big year. He played a lot for Arizona the first year he came in. But the year he only played 33, they wanted him to play 45. And he was injured a lot again. So he was not injured for a while, for a short time. His numbers are great, though. When he's playing, when he's healthy, he's a very good goaltender. It's just, can he help? It has nothing to do. He's an absolutely a good goaltender. He just can't play for longer than 5 games in a row for the last quite a while. And Peter Mrazek's not much different, yeah. Even with Fleury, still unlikely. Oh yeah, it's unlikely, but Fleury's that good that he could do it. I'm just saying that in order for Washington to win, they're going to need a goaltender that can just stop everything and go nuts. That's the only way they're going to win. I'm not saying they're going to win. No, no, not at all. Like, it's just the only way they're going to win. Yeah, I think the Washington Capitals, maybe even more than the Pittsburgh Penguins, could be that the old team that, like, just it just looks really bad. It looks really bad. I suppose they could just let guys fall off and just add free agents and maybe give it. I don't know. It doesn't look good. Tampa Bay Lightning will win the cup. Good. As long as you got Vasilevsky as a goaltender, you can win the cup for sure. I guess we can do our final one now. The Winnipeg Jets. And I don't see too many players being traded off the Winnipeg Jets because you got Cole Perfetti coming up. Who I hear is projected more as a winger. But if Pierre-Luc Dubois does crappy again, Cole Perfetti's coming up. Maybe his tenure in Winnipeg could be pretty short. Who the heck is Luke Johnson? What do you guys got for Winnipeg? Comrie, Nash, yeah. Guys like that. Just perimeter guys. Cop? Yeah. I think it would be a mistake, but if it's true, like I heard that Cole Perfetti is more likely to be a winger than a center, and he could be taking his spot. I don't know if he's going to be ready next year, but what do they have to sign next year too? First thing I should check is what are they going to be able to sign next year? Oh yeah, they got to sign Lowry. Okay, Stastny doesn't have to come back. They got to sign Dubois, but I mean, unless he has a decent year, he's not going to get much. Kopp's going to be a free agent. I don't know. Kopp really likes it there. I have a feeling they'll sign him up. But if they, because Stastny, you don't need to re-sign. He's 35 years old. If Perfetti's ready, Yeah, I don't see too many people unless there's a guy on the team that doesn't want to be there, which happens. I don't really see. Maybe Cop, but I don't see too many. Lowry's awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't be trading Lowry. That's for sure. Well, yeah. I don't. The only ways that they lose Vasky, I imagine, is if he gets injured. No way in heck they ever trade him. No way in heck they're ever trading Vasky. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the future here. Like if they lose next year, Tampa Bay, you see they're not going to be. I don't. I think if they lose next year, they got to trade some, kind of do a retool. I would think, even if they win, maybe. They got to do a retool, I would think. Yeah, we talked about that. Palat, Killorn. They got to get some picks and start getting some youth in there, or they're going to end up like the Washington Capitals. Why do you say that? Tampa Bay GM swaps. Oh, to go there? Oh, because you have no faith in Fletcher? Is that what you're talking about? Rasmus Dahlin's still not signed. You keep on bringing that up, John, and I do find it funny that nobody's talking about that. Like, nobody's talking about Rasmus Dahlin not being signed. Coots had a great quote about his extension. What was that? You want me to look it up, or are you going to tell me? Yeah, picks are definitely going to be worth a lot more the next 2 years, that's for sure. I'm looking it up right now. What did he say? Are you talking about you want to get paid, you want to earn what you're worth, but at the same time, I want to win a Stanley Cup championship? I did not want to break the bank or get all the money. I just wanted to secure myself for the next 8 years. I just wanted to make it a fair deal for both of us. This is what we came to. It's just another way to kind of try to help the team and really be excited to be part of this group for the next coming years. Is that what you're talking about the quote? Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of the players say that for sure. I think a lot of players, what they'll do is they'll say, I'll take less now, but when I'm old and gray, you're going to take care of me. That's the thing. Like, we go back to Washington here, right? Ovechkin never made a crazy, stupid amount of money. He could have went. And I bet you he went and said, look, I'll take less because I want to win a cup. But when I'm old, I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to be here. I want to retire a Capital. And if the owner goes, okay, if Leonis agreed to that, he's got to stick to that, right? Yeah, he could have got way more. And that's another one. Like, Crosby pretty much can say when he wants to go and when not. The Blue Jackets I'm sure the Blue Jackets want Jack Eichel. I don't know. They'd have to give up Berensky to get him, I think. Like, what could they give? If they got Jack Eichel, they'd have to give up their next 2 first-round picks. Their next 2 firsts plus something. Something to consider if you're Buffalo, because those will be some pretty valuable picks. I don't think Columbus will do that, because even if they get Eichel, they're still not going to be a playoff team. Yeah, there's no. I love Eichel, but I'm not sure I do that deal. Unless you can, I don't know, I'd have to think about it. I love Jack Eichel. Like, I think Jack Eichel is, if he wasn't in Buffalo, he would be as good as McKinnon. But they would have to add in free agency. They'd have to build their team through free agency if they did that. And that seldom works, right? Yeah, you'd have to build through free agency. What would their cap be like if they did that? I mean, it's not out of the question. You could. Eichel is that good that you might be able to work a team around him. Don't. Oh, shoot. They got $10 million in cap space this year. You sign Lyon. You got to re-sign Bjorkstrand. You can let Jack Roslovich walk, I suppose. Next year they would have $36 million, but they got to sign a lot of players. It would be tough. Max Domi would be off the books. They'd have to get free. They'd have the room to get some free agents and build a team, but I just don't think it's a wise move at this place. It's not the time. Yeah, he switched agents. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, for sure. He wants first round picks and only from teams that could be bad those years. Yeah, see, I purposely don't get involved in fantasy hockey because it takes so much time. I would love to do that. If all I could had to do was this show, if we had 100 concurrent viewers, and I'm bringing in enough to pay the bills, I would definitely do fantasy hockey for sure. But I can talk about fantasy hockey. Like, I get a lot of people asking me questions about where I should pick this guy, that guy, or whatever the case may be, or, who should you pick over this one? I get that whole concept of fantasy hockey for sure. I know one thing. I'm looking at Reinhardt big time this year, but somebody may overreach for him. Eichel will get traded. Well, if it takes that long, he won't play until next year. His worth will be nothing. He's going to go a whole year without playing. I mean, I love Eichel, but a whole year without playing is... I think he gets traded before that. Somebody's going to bite. Somebody's going to budge. Generational players are too hard to find. I don't know what everybody's asking for right now. It'd be sure interesting to find out what everybody's asking or what they're willing to give up as of right now. Yeah, that would be crazy if he went to the Edmonton Oilers. Do you think he's going to play for Buffalo then, Lauren? Do you think he's actually going to play for Buffalo to get his value up? I can't see how it's possible that he... when he was... You never saw him as a generational player? Maybe not generational. That's McDavid. It all depends on what you think generational is. Is McKinnon a generational player? He's a franchise player. Is McKinnon a generational player? Like, where's the line on what a generational player is? Do you put the line on Gretzky, McDavid, Lemieux? McKinnon, okay, if you don't think McKinnon is a generational player, then he's not a generational player. You have to establish the rules on that, I think. Oh, yeah, for sure. If you had Eichel, Draisaitl, and McDavid on a line, you would barely need other forwards. That's kind of what I think Dubas was doing. McKinnon is franchise. Okay. Well, then McKinnon is franchise, then Eichel is franchise, if you look at it that way. I think you could almost. I mean, if Malkin didn't play in Crosby's shadow, I think you could put him as generational. If Malkin would have played, he'll always be in the shadow of Crosby. If he would have been a number one center for somebody, Lidstrom, yeah, for sure, absolutely. Lidstrom will one day be considered top 5 best defenseman of all time, if he doesn't already. I think you got to put him as a top 5 best defenseman all time already. Datsuk? Well, according to other players, most fans don't see it because his point production wasn't as high as you would like to see, but he played through the clutch and grab, so for sure. If he would have been now, he would put up tons. Mary Lemieux for sure. Epic Gamer! Oh, you're coming in right on the tail end, but thanks for coming in. Well, Gretzky for sure, absolutely. Gretzky's definitely a generational. What about Mark Messier? If Mark Messier didn't play behind Gretzky, I think you got you got to put him generational. I mean, that guy was amazing. He's right on the border, at least, of generational. How's Epic Gamer, man? We were doing. We're talking about generational players. Which players were generational? Which ones weren't? Messier was elite. I think I would put him generational. They had 2 generational players playing at the same time. You don't see that too often. Yeah, if you consider McKinnon franchise, maybe Messier's in that same category, I suppose. But I mean, he was amazing defensively. He was tough. He was everything. He was everything. Malkin too. If Malkin was a number one center his whole career, Draisaitl was a franchise player. If Malkin was a number one center for a team, I think he would have been considered generational. Oh no, Matthews is generational. That shot is a shot of generations. Matthews is generational, no doubt about it. And I think McKinnon is on generational too. So I don't know. It all depends on where you are. Like, Austin Matthews may score as many goals as Ovechkin. Svechnikov is elite, yeah. Howe is generational for sure. Yeah, where do you put Cooch? Where do you put Cooch there? Is he generational? One of the best wingers of all time. I let other people do this because I don't know. I don't know where the lines are. Franchise, really? Wow. What about Panarin? Another franchise? Mitch Marner? We don't know yet. If Mitch Marner puts up many more 100-point seasons, how many 100-point seasons before you're generational? Vasilevsky is generational for sure. Vasi is generational, no doubt about it. Dominic Hasek, generational. Waugh, generational. Brodeur, generational. What about Bergeron? Best two-way player, one of the best, if not the best two-way player to ever play the game. Yeah, if Stamkos wasn't injured, where do you put him? Vasilevsky is the best goaltender in the league, bar none, bar none. Tampa Bay played horrible last year, seriously. If it was in the regular season, if it wasn't for Vasilevsky, I don't know. Bergeron is elite. Franchise, man. Franchise for me. So, I mean, one of the could go down as like one of the top 4 defensive centers of all time, and puts up 90 points a season. I don't know. And is a leader beyond all leaders. I put him in the same category as Mark Messier. Yeah, it's just Pasternak's overall game is a little bit, but he's incredible. I put Pasternak in the same category as Brett Hall. Rod Brindamore, yeah. I put Pasternak in the same category as Brett Hall. Where do you put Bossy then? 60 goal scorer. If it didn't have a back injury, I don't know how many goals he would have scored. Zach Bogosian. Yeah. Hutton. If only he could get his eyes fixed. Brady Tkachuk. Definitely franchise. Yeah, I would say franchise. That guy is freaking insane. Bossy was a franchise. Without the injuries, I think he's... Oh, you want to be mod? I just make everybody mod. You want to be mod? I can make you mod. There you go. The only rule for moderator is you don't delete anybody or you don't block anybody. Basically, a moderator does very little except go and tell everybody to come here and watch this fine programming. That's what a moderator does. So there you go. You're a moderator. My goal is to have everybody on my stream as a moderator. Mod party, yay! Everybody's special. Everybody wins in Perlo land. Well, that's 3 bells, boys and girls. That's the fine programming for today. I'll be posting the video tonight. Check it out. It's the second half of the general manager. Bossy was insane, yes. I put Matthews in the same level as Bossy for sure. They got a shot similar to each other, except Matthews is a center and Matthews is a great defensive player. But I gotta head out. Thanks for coming on, everybody. Monday, our intent is Monday, we're gonna get 10 concurrents. 10 concurrents. So if you're on any other streams and if you're talking to people, let them know. Pearl of Wisdom Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Okay, bye.